we had the Pac-12 schedule come out. That's a newsworthy a development that we had since we last talked, Mark. So we had the Pac-12 schedule, and Utah has to go to Oregon now in mid-November. They're flipping that late season date. This past season, it was Oregon going to Salt Lake City in mid-November. Next year, it's going to be Utah making the trek to Eugene. And USC, much like 2021, doesn't have to play Oregon or Washington this season. The Trojans don't have any prolonged road trip. They do play 2 road games in a row, but they're separated by an off week. So USC does not have to play road games on consecutive Saturdays at any point in this 2021 season. Oregon has a much tougher road, especially in September. Oregon's schedule is front-loaded, obviously, with that Georgia opener. But then Oregon's first conference game is a road trip to Washington State, which should be very good. Was a Pac-12 contender this past season, surprisingly, but it was. I mean, Washington State was in the mix in the Pac-12 North race until the very end. So USC, once again, like 2021, got a favorable schedule. There's just a little bit of a difference here. Lincoln Riley instead of Clay Helton. So USC definitely in position to do well in the Pac-12 given its schedule. And the other thing, though, is that Utah has a definitely tougher schedule than USC. Utah gets USC at home. That's the Utes' one really big advantage. But looking at the schedule, I can easily see a scenario, Mark, in which USC loses at Utah, but finishes 8-1 in the Pac-12, and Utah, which has tougher road trips, finishes 7-2 anyway. USC fans have to like the way the Pac-12 schedule lined up for the Trojans, and you combine that with Bo Nix being at Oregon. If we do get Trojans Ducks in the Pac-12 championship game, USC has to like where it's situated right now. That's just the bottom line.
USC's out-of-conference fare in 2022 includes the opener against Rice at the LA Coliseum, that traditional Stanford game on the road in week 2. Then they're back to non-conference play against a pretty interesting Fresno State bunch that has given all sorts of Pac-12 teams a fit. And then, of course, Notre Dame late in the season, that finale after the UCLA game. Got Man Zemek on the line.
This brings up something, Mark.
Yeah,
this brings up something. Keaton Slovis is in the rumor mill at Notre Dame as a possible transfer.
Yes.
Can you believe this? Keaton Slovis, I mean, it's not, we don't know if it's going to happen, but he's in the mix. He said that Notre Dame reached out to him in the transfer portal a few days ago. So imagine Keaton Slovis versus Jackson Dart as opponents in the first Notre Dame USC game played in LA since 2018, because they never did play that 2020 game due to the cancellation related to the pandemic. What a scenario that would be. And then just imagine if you have any national stakes attached to that game as well. Wouldn't that be incredible?
Otherwise, from what I'm hearing, Keaton Slovis also connected to Stanford, Cal, and possibly Nebraska.
Yes, and I've also heard Pittsburgh to replace Kenny Pickett. That's another rumor that's going around here.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was only a couple of years ago that USC had a transfer quarterback head out to Pitt eventually, and I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Max Brown.
Max Brown, yes, absolutely.